Amaziah, son of King Joash of Judah, became king in the second year that Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, was king of Israel. Amaziah was 25 years old when he began to rule. He ruled 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother was Jehoaddan from Jerusalem. Amaziah did what the Lord said was right, but he did not follow God completely like David his ancestor. Amaziah did everything that Joash his father had done. He did not destroy the high places. The people still sacrificed and burned incense at those places of worship. At the time that Amaziah had strong control of the kingdom, he killed the officers who had killed his father. But he did not kill the children of the murderers, because of the rules written in the book, the law of Moses. The Lord gave this command in there: parents must not be put to death for something their children did, and children must not be put to death for something their parents did. People should be put to death only for what they themselves did. Amaziah killed 10,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt. In war, Amaziah took Selah and called it Joktheel. It is still called Joktheel today. Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, son of King Jehu of Israel. Amaziah's message said, "Come on, let's meet together face to face and fight." King Jehoash of Israel sent an answer to King Amaziah of Judah. Jehoash said, "The thorn bush in Lebanon sent a message to the cedar tree in Lebanon. It said, 'Give your daughter for my son to marry.' But a wild animal from Lebanon passed by and trampled down the thorn bush. True, you have defeated Edom, but you have become proud because of your victory over Edom. But stay at home and brag. Don't make trouble for yourself. If you do this, you will fall, and Judah will fall with you." But Amaziah would not listen to Jehoash's warning. So King Jehoash of Israel went to fight against King Amaziah of Judah at Beth-shemesh in Judah. Israel defeated Judah. Every man of Judah ran home. At Beth-shemesh, King Jehoash of Israel captured King Amaziah of Judah, the son of Joash, the son of Ahaziah. Jehoash took Amaziah to Jerusalem. Jehoash broke down the wall of Jerusalem from the gate of Ephraim to the corner gate, about 600 feet. Then Jehoash took all the gold and silver and all the dishes in the Lord's temple and in the treasures of the king's palace. Jehoash also took people to be his prisoners. Then he went back to Samaria. Amaziah was 25 years old when he became king. He ruled for 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jehoaddan. Jehoaddan was from Jerusalem. Amaziah did what the Lord wanted him to do, but not with all his heart. He became a strong king and killed the officials who had killed his father, the king. But Amaziah obeyed the law written in the book of Moses and did not kill the officials' children. The Lord commanded, "Parents must not be put to death for something their children did, and children must not be put to death for something their parents did. People should be put to death only for what they themselves did." Amaziah gathered the people of Judah together. He grouped them by families, and he put generals and captains in charge of these groups. The leaders were in charge of all the soldiers from Judah and Benjamin. All the men who were chosen to be soldiers were 20 years old and older. In all, there were 300,000 skilled soldiers ready to fight with spears and shields. Amaziah also hired 100,000 soldiers from Israel. He paid 3¾ tons of silver to hire these soldiers. But a man of God came to Amaziah and said, "King, don't let the army of Israel go with you. The Lord is not with Israel or the people of Ephraim. Maybe you will make yourself strong and ready for war, but God can help you win or help you lose." Amaziah said to the man of God, "But what about the money I already paid to the Israelite army?" The man of God answered, "The Lord has plenty. He can give you much more than that." So Amaziah sent the Israelite army back home to Ephraim. These men were very angry with the king and the people of Judah. They went back home very angry. Then Amaziah became very brave and led his army to the Salt Valley in the country of Edom. There, his army killed 10,000 men from Seir. They also captured 10,000 men from Seir and took them to the top of a cliff. Then the army of Judah threw them off the top of the cliff while they were still alive, and their bodies were broken on the rocks below. Meanwhile, the Israelite army was attacking towns in Judah. They attacked the towns from Beth-horon all the way to Samaria. They killed 3,000 people and took many valuable things. They were angry because Amaziah didn't let them join him in the war. Amaziah came home after he defeated the Edomites. He brought the idols that the people of Seir worshipped. He started to worship those idols. He bowed down in front of them and burned incense to them. The Lord was very angry with Amaziah, so he sent a prophet to him. The prophet said, "Amaziah, why have you worshipped the gods those people worship? Those gods could not even save their own people from you." When the prophet spoke, Amaziah said to the prophet, "We never made you an advisor to the king. Be quiet! If you don't be quiet, you will be killed." The prophet became quiet, but then said, "God has decided to destroy you because you did this and didn't listen to my advice." King Amaziah of Judah talked with his advisors. Then he sent a message to King Jehoash of Israel. Amaziah said to Jehoash, "Let's meet face to face." Jehoash was Jehoahaz's son. Jehoahaz was Jehu's son. Then Jehoash sent his answer to Amaziah. Jehoash was the king of Israel, and Amaziah was the king of Judah. Jehoash told this story. A little thorn bush of Lebanon sent a message to a big cedar tree of Lebanon. The little thorn bush said, "Let your daughter marry my son." But a wild animal came and walked over the thorn bush and destroyed it. You say to yourself, "I have defeated Edom," but you are proud and you brag. But you should stay at home. There is no need for you to get into trouble. If you fight me, you and Judah will be destroyed. But Amaziah refused to listen. God made this happen. God planned to let Israel defeat Judah, because the people of Judah followed the gods the people of Edom followed. So King Jehoash of Israel met King Amaziah of Judah face to face at the town of Beth-Shemesh in Judah. Israel defeated Judah. Every man of Judah ran away to his home. Jehoash captured Amaziah at Beth-Shemesh and took him to Jerusalem. Amaziah was the son of Joash, and Joash was the son of Jehoahaz. Jehoash tore down the wall of Jerusalem from the Ephraim gate to the corner gate, a section about 600 feet long. He took the gold and silver and all the other things in God's temple that Obed-Edom was responsible for. Jehoash also took the treasures from the king's palace and some people as hostages. Then he went back to Samaria. All the great things that Jehoash did and his wars against King Amaziah of Judah are written in the book, The History of the Kings of Israel. Jehoash died and was buried with his ancestors. Jeroboam became the new king and sat on Jehoash's throne. Jehoash was buried at Samaria with the kings of Israel. All the great things that Jehoash did, including how he fought against King Amaziah of Judah, are written in the book, The History of the Kings of Israel. Jehoash died and was buried with his ancestors. He was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. Jehoash's son Jeroboam became the new king after him. King Jeroboam, son of Jehoash of Israel, began to rule in Samaria during the 15th year that Amaziah, son of Joash, was king of Judah. Jeroboam ruled 41 years. Jeroboam did what the Lord said was wrong. He did not stop committing the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin. Jeroboam took back Israel's land, which ran from Lebo-Hamath to the Arabah Sea. This happened as the Lord of Israel had told his servant Jonah, son of Amittai, the prophet from Gath-Hepher. The Lord saw that all the Israelites, both slaves and free men, had many troubles. No one was left who could help Israel. The Lord did not say that he would take away the name of Israel from the world, so he used Jeroboam, son of Jehoash, to save the Israelites. Amaziah lived 15 years after Jehoash died. Amaziah's father was King Joash of Judah. Everything else Amaziah did from the beginning to the end is written in the book, The History of the Kings of Judah and Israel. When Amaziah stopped obeying the Lord, the people in Jerusalem made plans against Amaziah. He ran away to the town of Lachish. But the people sent men to Lachish, and they killed Amaziah there. Then they carried his body on horses and buried him with his ancestors in the city of Judah. King Amaziah, son of Joash of Judah, lived 15 years after the death of King Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz of Israel. All the great things that Amaziah did are written in the book, The History of the Kings of Judah. The people made a plan against Amaziah in Jerusalem, so he ran away to Lachish. But the people sent men after Amaziah to Lachish, and they killed him there. The people brought Amaziah's body back on horses. He was buried at Jerusalem with his ancestors in the city of David. Then all the people of Judah made Azariah the new king. Azariah was 16 years old. So King Amaziah died and was buried with his ancestors. Then Azariah rebuilt Elath and got it back for Judah. King Azariah, son of Amaziah of Judah, became king in the 27th year that Jeroboam was king of Israel. Azariah was 16 years old when he began to rule. He ruled 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother was named Jechaliah of Jerusalem. Azariah did what the Lord said was right, just as his father Amaziah had done. But he did not destroy the high places. People still made sacrifices and burned incense in those places of worship. The Lord caused King Azariah to become sick with leprosy. He was a leper until the day he died. Azariah lived in a separate house. His son Jotham was in charge of the king's palace, and he judged the people. Then the people of Judah chose Uzziah to be the new king in place of Amaziah. Amaziah was Uzziah's father. Uzziah was 16 years old when he became king. Uzziah rebuilt the town of Elath and gave it back to Judah. He did this after Amaziah died and was buried with his ancestors. Uzziah was 16 years old when he became king. He ruled 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jechaliah. Jechaliah was from Jerusalem. Uzziah did what the Lord wanted him to do. He obeyed God, the same as his father Amaziah had done. Uzziah followed God in the time of Zechariah's life. Zechariah taught Uzziah how to respect and obey God. When Uzziah was obeying the Lord, God gave him success. Uzziah fought a war against the Philistines. He tore down the walls around the towns of Gath, Jebnah, and Ashdod. Uzziah built towns near the town of Ashdod and in other places among the Philistines. God helped Uzziah fight the Philistines, the Arabs living in the town of Gur-Baal, and the Meunites. The Ammonites paid tribute to Uzziah. His name became famous all the way to the border of Egypt. He was famous because he was very powerful. Uzziah built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate, at the valley gate, and at the place where the wall turned. He made them strong. He built towers in the desert. He also dug many wells. He had many cattle in the hill country and in the flatlands. He had farmers in the mountains and in the lands where growth was good. He also had men who took care of the vineyards. He loved farming. Uzziah had an army of trained soldiers. They were put in groups by Geo, the secretary, and Maaseiah, the officer. Hananiah was their leader. Jael and Maaseiah counted the soldiers and put them into groups. Hananiah was one of the king's officers. There were 2,600 leaders over the soldiers. These family leaders were in charge of the army of 307,500 men who fought with great power. These soldiers helped the king against the enemy. Uzziah gave the army shields, spears, helmets, armor, bows, and stones for the slings. In Jerusalem, Uzziah made machines that were invented by clever men. These machines were put on the towers and corner walls. They shot arrows and large rocks. Uzziah became famous. People knew his name in faraway places. He had much help and became a powerful king. But when Uzziah became strong, his pride caused him to be destroyed. He was not faithful to the Lord his God. He went into the Lord's temple to burn incense on the altar for burning incense. Azariah the priest and 80 brave priests who served the Lord followed Uzziah into the temple. They told Uzziah he was wrong. They said to him, "Uzziah, it is not your job to burn incense to the Lord. It is not right. That is for the priests, Aaron's descendants, to do. They are the only ones who have been prepared for the holy work of burning incense. You have not been faithful, so you must go out of the most holy place. The Lord God will not honor you for this." But Uzziah was angry. He had a bowl in his hand for burning incense. While Uzziah was very angry with the priest, leprosy broke out on his forehead. This happened in front of the priest in the Lord's temple by the altar for burning incense. Azariah the leading priest and all the priests looked at Uzziah. They could see the leprosy on his forehead. The priest quickly forced him out of the temple. Uzziah himself hurried out because the Lord had punished him. So Uzziah the king was a leper. He could not enter the Lord's temple. His son Jotham controlled the king's palace and became governor for the people. The Lord spoke to Jonah, son of Amittai. "Nineveh is a big city. I have heard about the many evil things the people are doing there. So go there and tell them to stop doing such evil things." But Jonah tried to run away from the Lord. He went to Joppa and found a boat that was going to the faraway city of Tarshish. Jonah paid money for the trip and went on the boat. He wanted to travel with the people on this boat to Tarshish and run away from the Lord. But the Lord brought a great storm on the sea. The wind made the sea very rough. The storm was very strong, and the boat was ready to break apart. The men wanted to make the boat lighter to stop it from sinking, so they began throwing the cargo into the sea. The sailors were very afraid. Each man began praying to his God. Jonah had gone down into the boat to lie down, and he went to sleep. The captain of the boat saw Jonah and said, "Wake up! Why are you sleeping? Pray to your God." Maybe your God will hear your prayer and save us." Then the men said to each other, "We should throw lots to find out why this is happening to us." So the men threw lots. The lots showed that the troubles came to them because of Jonah. Then the men said to Jonah, "It is your fault that this terrible thing is happening to us. Tell us, what have you done? What is your job? Where do you come from? What is your country? Who are your people?" Jonah said to them, "I am a Hebrew. I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the land and the sea." Jonah told the men he was running away from the Lord. The men became very afraid when they learned this. They asked Jonah, "What terrible thing did you do against your God?" The wind and the waves of the sea were becoming stronger and stronger. So the men said to Jonah, "What should we do to save ourselves? What should we do to you to make the sea calm?" Jonah said to the men, "I know I did wrong. That is why the storm came on the sea. So throw me into the sea, and the sea will become calm." Instead, the men tried to row the ship back to the shore, but they couldn't do it. The wind and the waves of the sea were too strong, and they were becoming stronger and stronger. So the men cried to the Lord, "Lord, please don't say we are guilty of killing an innocent man. Please don't make us die for killing him. We know you are the Lord, and you will do whatever you want." So the men threw Jonah into the sea. The storm stopped, and the sea became calm. When the men saw this, they began to fear and respect the Lord. They offered a sacrifice and made special promises to the Lord. When Jonah fell into the sea, the Lord chose a very big fish to swallow Jonah. He was in the stomach of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. While Jonah was in the stomach of the fish, he prayed to the Lord his God. He said, "I was in very bad trouble. I called to the Lord for help, and he answered me. I was deep in the grave. I cried to you, and you heard my voice. You threw me into the sea. Your powerful waves splashed over me. I went down into the deep sea. The water was all around me. Then I thought, now I must go where you cannot see me. But I continued looking to your holy temple for help. The sea water closed over me. The water covered my mouth, and I could not breathe. I went down into the deep sea. Seaweed wrapped around my head. I was at the bottom of the sea, the place where the mountains begin. I thought I was locked into prison forever. But the Lord my God took me out of my grave. God, you gave me life again. My soul gave up all hope. But then I remembered the Lord. I prayed to you, and you heard my prayers in your holy temple. Some people worship useless idols, but those statues never help them. I will give sacrifices to you, and I will praise and thank you. I will make special promises to you, and I will do what I promise. Salvation only comes from the Lord." Then the Lord spoke to the fish, and it vomited Jonah out of its stomach onto the dry land. Then the Lord spoke to Jonah again and said, "Go to that big city Nineveh, and say what I tell you." So Jonah obeyed the Lord and went to Nineveh. It was a very large city. A person had to walk for 3 days to travel through it. Jonah went to the center of the city and began speaking to the people. He said, "After 40 days, Nineveh will be destroyed." The people of Nineveh believed God. They decided to stop eating for a time to think about their sins. They put on special clothes to show they were sorry. All the people in the city did this, from the most important to the least important. When the king of Nineveh heard about this, he left his throne, removed his robe, put on special clothes to show that he was sorry, and sat in ashes. The king wrote a special message and sent it throughout the city. A command from the king and his great rulers. For a short time, no person or animal should eat anything. No herd or flock will be allowed in the fields. Nothing living in Nineveh will eat or drink water. But every person and every animal must be covered with a special cloth to show they are sad. People must cry loudly to God. Everyone must change their life and stop doing bad things. Who knows? Maybe God will stop being angry and change his mind, and we will not be punished. God saw what the people did. He saw that they stopped doing evil. So God changed his mind and did not do what he planned. He did not punish the people. Jonah was not happy that God saved the city. Jonah became angry. He complained to the Lord and said, "Lord, I knew this would happen. I was in my own country and you told me to come here. At that time, I knew that you would forgive the people of this evil city. So I decided to run away to Tarshish. I knew that you were a kind God. I knew that you show mercy and don't want to punish people. I knew that you are kind. And if these people stopped sinning, you would change your plans to destroy them. So now, Lord, just kill me. It is better for me to die than to live." Then the Lord said, Do you think it is right for you to be so angry?" Jonah went out of the city to a place near the city, on the east side. He made a shelter for himself and sat there in the shade, waiting to see what would happen to the city. The Lord made a gourd plant grow quickly over Jonah. This made a cool place for Jonah to sit and helped him to be more comfortable. He was very happy because of this plant. The next morning, God sent a worm to eat part of the plant. The worm began eating the plant, and the plant died. After the sun was high in the sky, God caused a hot east wind to blow. The sun became very hot on Jonah's head, and he became very weak. He asked God to let him die. He said, "It is better for me to die than to live." But God said to Jonah, "Do you think it is right for you to be angry just because this plant died?" "Yes, it is right for me to be angry. I'm angry enough to die." And the Lord said, "You did nothing for that plant. You did not make it grow. It grew up in the night, and the next day it died. And now you are sad about it. If you can get upset over a plant, surely I can feel sorry for a big city like Nineveh. There are many people and animals in that city. There are more than 120,000 people there who did not know they were doing wrong."